Hello and welcome back. I am here with another another short but really packed episode on the connection between UTIs and your gut health, because there is a connection. There is a link between the two. And I really want to share this with you today because I thought, in full transparency, I thought I had already done an episode on this, but I actually haven't. I've just talked about it a heck of a lot on social media. So I am going to share a whole bunch of information with you today on this topic of UTIs and its connection to gut health. And this really was this topic really came to the forefront for me about a month ago when I actually had a UTI. So I have not had many UTIs in my life. In fact, this is probably the second, maybe third I've had in my 32 years on this earth, almost 33. So, I mean, not very common for me, but in doing my research, like I like to do on this topic, I found a lot out. And I thought I would share with you because if I didn't know a lot of this, chances are you don't either. And so why not share it with you? So what we're going to do today is I'm going to share with you the most common cause of UTIs, what could happen if we leave it alone, if we leave it untreated. I'm also going to share with you how, yes, antibiotics are most commonly prescribed to eradicate it, but I want to share the con side of antibiotics with you that you may not be aware of. And then I also want to talk about some things that you can do to support yourself in a natural way that will hopefully lessen or reduce the likelihood of you developing a UTI. So some natural ways that you can support your body as a woman. So we're going to dive into all of that. So just you stay tuned because we're going to get to all of it right now. All right. So UTIs are mostly caused or most commonly caused by an imbalance of bacteria in the gut. Okay. And that bacteria that triggers a UTI is E. coli. Okay. It's one that we hear about quite often, right? Or at least we've heard that one, hopefully, right? Because sometimes E. coli is found in some of our foods, right? And then they end up getting recalled and we're not supposed to eat them because we don't want to consume that bacteria. It can make us sick. So what happens when we develop a UTI is we have excess E. coli, and that E. coli starts in the intestines, in our gut, and the bacteria can make its way all the way to our urinary tract. So that infection can occur anywhere in the urinary tract. So that could include the kidneys, your ureters, your bladder, and your urethra. Mouthful. So, if left untreated, it can really cause some serious damage to your body, specifically kidney damage. So we really want to, if we have any sort of question about whether or not we think we have a UTI, we should definitely, err on the side of caution and go and, seek out professional help, because it's not something that you want to wait around on. And in addition, the longer you wait, the longer the recovery process, but also the worse you're going to feel because it's going to be further along, right? So for me, when I had my UTI about a month ago, I was at the very early, very beginning stages of the development, but I knew something was off. Like I woke up and had these massive pains and cramps in my lower abdomen. And I was like, this is not normal. Then I went to the bathroom and I could barely pee. Okay. So that was like, okay, red flag. So, this was in the middle of the night. So the next morning, I set up a minute clinic appointment at the local CVS. And, sure enough, I had a UTI. And the nurse practitioner that, treated me said, yes, I'm glad you came in. It was at the very early beginning stages. So, me knowing my body very well and knowing that something was not typical, that I was feeling very atypical, was, a good thing for me to be able to sense, and then, be able to go in and get seek treatment early on. So, like I said, very, very important that you listen to your body, you listen to your gut. And if you have any shadow of a doubt, err on the side of caution and just go in and get yourself checked out. Okay. Because the worst thing that could happen is you go in and they say, you're fine. Right. And then that's actually a really good thing. So the worst thing really is you go in and you waste your time, right? But it's not really wasting your time because, maybe you missed out on some time. You could have been doing something else, but you were looking out for yourself and you were, taking the precaution to make sure that it wasn't anything serious. So it really is, beneficial for you to err on the side of caution. So enough about that, because I could go on for days about that, but I want to talk now about antibiotics, okay? Because that's what I was prescribed to eradicate mine. Also, they typically will share with you Azo, AZO, as a brand. And it helps to support like any of the pain that you might feel. And it has some really great, compounds, if you will, in it that support working alongside of an antibiotic to help, expedite and speed up the process, if you will, of the recovery. So I took an antibiotic and I took Azo, and my antibiotic was 5 days worth, 2 pills a day. So like about 12 hours apart. And, what I will say is that it's definitely important for you to be taking a probiotic with the antibiotic. You don't want to take them at the same time. What I would recommend is that you take the antibiotic and then 2 to 3 hours later, take a probiotic. That way the antibiotic has time to start doing its thing and start working. And then after it's started to process and has really been metabolized by your body, then you can take your probiotic. Because what will happen is the probiotic has good bacteria, right? And an antibiotic has or an antibiotic wipes out both the good and bad bacteria. So in order to repopulate and replenish your body, to get it back to a healthy, sound state, it's helpful to incorporate probiotics, right? So you don't want to take the probiotic at the same time because it will negate you even taking it, right? Because the antibiotic, if the probiotic is taken at the same time, will kill off all the probiotic, right? So you want to take it, you want to space it apart. Like I said, usually I do 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours though is typical time to wait, just because it gives your body time, like I said, to start metabolizing the antibiotic. So that's just kind of a little side story on antibiotics, right? And how you can use them effectively. But I also want to just let you know that when you take an antibiotic, it can cause you to develop a weaker immune system because, like I said, it's wiping out all the bacteria in your body, both good and bad. So it can really lower your immunity. So again, that's why I strongly always recommend to my clients taking a probiotic alongside of any antibiotic for that reason. Okay. So that's that story. What I want to also share is that women who have recurrent UTIs are often found to have less diverse microbiomes than their UTI-free counterparts, right? Than those that don't have recurring UTIs. So that's also, just like a sign for you to, if you're having recurrent UTIs, that maybe we want to start looking at your gut health and how can we start to support you in healing your gut and in boosting your gut health so that you can hopefully eliminate these ongoing or recurrent UTIs. Okay. Now, the other thing I want to share with you as we start to get into natural things that can support you if you are someone who is trying to avoid UTIs or you are prone to getting them quite frequently, the short chain fatty acid butyrate is something that you want to be aware of, because this particular short chain fatty acid has actually been linked to being or having a lack thereof in women who are more prone to UTIs. So let me clean that up a little bit. Women who are more UTI prone usually lack the short chain fatty acid butyrate, okay? And this is an anti-inflammatory short chain fatty acid. Now, how can we get more of that into our diet, into our body? Legumes are a great way to do that. So beans, peas, and soybeans are great. Many fruits, nuts, whole grains, some whole grain cereal, and butter and cheeses, okay? So if any of those things sound good to you, or those are part of your regular diet, or you're willing to incorporate those things, those are great ways to start increasing the amount of short chain fatty acid butyrate into your diet. Okay, and that's just going to help to reduce the likeliness or the likelihood of you developing a UTI. Okay, it's not a cure-all, but it's definitely one of those things that you have the power to change, right? In terms of incorporating more of these butyrate-rich foods into your diet to support your overall health. So we're going to talk about, as I start to wrap up, we're going to talk about some natural ways to support your body and reduce the risk of developing a UTI. So we're going to start by, I feel like, starting with the easiest things, right? Which are, really, when I say easy, it's like you don't have to really buy anything. So wearing loose clothing, okay, like cotton underwear, breathable underwear, so that your nether regions have the ability to breathe, because when it's stuffy down there, that's when heat and humidity start to create a messy bacterial mess down there, right? So wearing loose, breathable underwear and just loose clothing in general as much as possible, not always wearing like tight leggings or tight skinny jeans or skinny pants, skinny slacks or whatever, right? Like wearing things that are a little bit looser are going to help you. Also, common sense, but showering or taking a bath regularly, right? So I'm not waiting for once a week to clean your body, right? I don't think anyone who's listening to this podcast is doing that, but, just make sure that you are on the regular cleaning your body, washing your body. That allows you, of course, to get rid of a lot of the dirt and grime and the excess bacteria that we just naturally have and consume throughout a day. Wiping from front to back. Again, this is hopefully something you learned as a child, but if not, okay, we want to, as a woman, wipe front to back, because when we do the opposite, we're bringing nasty bacteria up to the front, and that makes it a lot easier for us to develop things like a UTI, okay? Because now that bacteria is coming up front and center, and it can cause an infection. And then using the bathroom when you need to go, right? Not holding it. Now, again, probably common sense, but for someone like me who's a teacher who has trained herself to go to the restroom in the morning before school and then I wait typically until I get home at night. So almost like 10 hours to use the restroom, unless like I absolutely feel I have to go, then I go at school. Just because I have like a phobia of public restrooms. If you know, you know, that's just me. Then, you want to be mindful of that. So like if you feel like you're about to explode, please go to the restroom, right? Please don't wait until, you're about ready to pee all over the floor, right? It's really important that we listen again to our body's cues. And if we've got to go, because holding that in could cause an infection. All right. Now, the next thing I'm going to share with you is, about doing the deed, if you will, right? In the bedroom. So before and after you do the deed, you should be using the bathroom or using the restroom, because that is going to help your body to flush out and eliminate bacteria. Okay. So that's going to help you to be less likely to develop a UTI or other type of infection. You also want to make sure that you are drinking plenty of fluids. Okay. We talked about earlier taking a probiotic, so I don't need to reiterate the importance of that, but that's definitely something that you should consider if you're not already taking a probiotic. Cranberry juice. We hear that, right? That's just kind of like one of those things that, like, when you hear UTI, someone's like, "Oh, are you drinking cranberry juice? Make sure you drink some cranberry juice." You want to make sure that you're drinking cranberry juice that doesn't have any extra crap in it, right? So no added sugar or anything like that, just straight up raw cranberry juice. All right. And the reason for that is because cranberry juice has a special compound called an A-type PAC. Okay. And that can prevent bacteria from sticking to the bladder wall. All right. So definitely helpful to drink that when you don't have a UTI, but it also could be beneficial if you do have a UTI and you're seeking treatment. This could be something added on top of that treatment that you could do to support your body even further, right? And then the last thing would be increasing your vitamin C. So we talked about the fact that if you are someone who your gut health is not great, then that means your immune health is probably also not great, because most of our immune system is housed in our gut. So in order to like dual purpose it, adding more vitamin C, which helps to boost our immune system, is going to help you be healthier and create a more diverse gut, which then means we're going to have less of a likelihood of having excess bad bacteria like E. coli, which means you're less likely to develop a UTI. All right. So I hope this was supportive. I hope this was helpful. If you had a UTI recently, or you have one now, or you know someone that just recently went through this whole experience of a UTI, or you know someone who gets them on the regular, please feel free to send this episode to them. Just send them the link, because I want this information to be far and wide, because again, this stuff is not just widely available. It's not just regularly shared. And so I wanted to come on here and share an episode that gives you the deets, all the goods, if you will, that are going to truly help you to support your body in a holistic manner. So as always, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a fantastic week ahead, and we'll chat later.